Hello, seniors. Sorry to be coming to you so late with this video. The small person in my house is getting teeth, and it is apparently very unpleasant for her. So I'm going to talk to you today about the persuasive research essay. You have a really busy schedule this next couple of weeks, so I'll start by looking at that persuasive research essay schedule. Share that with you here. All right. As you can see, I'm in Edmodo in your Comp 2 small group. And your end of year schedule I've posted in there. I've also posted a number of things in your folders, which I'll show you. So this is your end of the year schedule. So today, you're doing your introduction to the persuasive research essay. That's this video, that's kind of your instructions for this paper. And you're going to read pages 109 and 110 in your supplement. As you probably already know, PRE stands for the Persuasive Research Paper. So you are writing a research paper that is meant to persuade a skeptical or resistant audience. It needs to be a controversial topic. It needs to be a topic on which research is available. And it needs to be something that's fresh, something a little bit different maybe than your typical things, kind of like you do for your bills in government. So not similar to that. So tomorrow, I want you to have chosen your topic, and I want you to post it to the Edmodo discussion board. It is super important that you choose your topic quickly and early, as your topic is really what decides whether or not your persuasive research essay is going to work or not. So on Wednesday, you're going to start analyzing who your resistant audience is, and that's going to use page 111 in the supplement. I suggest you type up your answers because they will make drafting your paper so much quicker than if you simply write things down. On Thursday, you're going to create a claim using audience-based reasons, and you're going to have help from that on pages 112 and 113 in your supplement. And on Friday, I'm going to do Zoom office hours at 10 a.m. like I normally do. And I'm actually going to walk you through drafting the introduction. So if you have your paper in front of you, you can draft your introduction alongside with me, and it'll help you get things done more quickly. All right, so after that, we'll move on to drafting body paragraphs, and I am going to do videos teaching you how to do that. And for this paper, importantly, unlike other papers, you are going to draft a rebuttal, where you are going to summarize an important opposing view, and you're going to take it on. You might also have rebuttals in your body paragraphs, but this is the only paper where you are to set aside a specific paragraph for rebuttal. And then lastly, on that Friday, you're going to draft your conclusion. I'll give you a video for that as well. We'll also have Zoom conferences on that Friday from 10 to 11. And you can look at that, kind of show me your paper, go through it. Remember, this paper is going to be worth revision grade rather than first draft grade. And the reason for that is because it's pretty hard to return work to you. And with you being at home and everything, I don't want to give you any extra work. Instead, I want to balance the work that we already have. So that's my goal for you. On that next Monday, the 4th, we'll do the self-evaluation and workshop. That's in the supplement. And then your paper's due Tuesday, and we will have a short reflection assignment. I don't think you'll find it difficult at all on Wednesday and Thursday. So that'll be really simple for you. You can work ahead as much as you like. I'm going to try to get the videos up as quickly as possible, but you can work ahead as much as you want. You can email me, send me things, and we can be in communication about this paper. But yeah, that is your schedule for the persuasive research essay. Now I want to show you where your resources are located for the PRE. If you look in folders under your comp small group, Here's all your stuff. Your schedule, your outline for the persuasive research essay, 2 samples, and your XPOS supplement. I'm going to pull the supplement up now. Your expository writing supplement, this was a draft that was ready to go to print, which is why it's got kind of the funny symbols on the side of it. But it's on page 109. You'll notice in the PDF that's 119. You need to read about what the requirements for this paper are. It's very, very, very important. And you'll see that the main point of this paper is to anticipate and to rebut counter arguments. This paper should have no holes in it. Every single point that you make should be backed up by research. This is a research-heavy paper. So if you have gotten by or gotten passing grades, but have not included very much research, that's going to have to change for this paper because your resistant audience is not going to buy it. And when I grade this paper, I put myself in the place of your resistant audience to find out whether or not they would be amenable to your arguments. So problem areas. If you choose something that's not very controversial, or if it's too big, or if it's not at all important to you and you don't care about it. It's also a problem if you don't know who your audience is or whether or not they are resistant. And the last and most important problem area is if you use reasons that are not based upon the values of your audience. So when I talk about this paper, the example that I like to use is the argument for or against gun control. Let's say that you are writing a paper and you are against gun control and you want to argue that we should loosen gun regulations in the US. So let's start by talking about your audience. Who is your audience? Your audience is going to be anti-gun control advocates, possibly those connected to school shootings groups, that sort of thing. So those are going to be your resistant audience. So the first thing you're going to have to do is figure out what makes that resistant audience tick. Why do they think the way that they do? And if all you can come up with is because they're stupid or because they're ridiculous, then you need to toss that argument right there. It's not going to work. You're arguing to a brick wall at that point. And I would much rather you argue with a group that you understand has a reasonable point of view. So if you cannot reasonably argue it yourself, or if you cannot put yourself in the place of your audience, then you need a different topic. So if you were to put yourself in the place of the of a gun control advocate, you might think something along the lines of, what do we both have in common? Well, gun rights advocates and gun control advocates both care about people's safety. Safety is essential to them. They both think that they have ways to make the country safer. They just have different ways of going about it. They both care about families. They both are very in tune with regulations and the laws. And they both hope to make the world a better place with their points of view. Okay? So that being said, finding those things in common is really, really important. Secondly, you're going to have to be able to articulate your resistant audience's point of view without a bias. So you're going to have to be able to say, okay, this is the point of view of a gun control advocate, even though you are writing from the perspective of a gun rights advocate. If you cannot accurately summarize the opposing point of view, then you cannot write a rebuttal. It's just not possible. Because then you're creating what's called a straw man argument, where instead of arguing the actual thing that you're debating, you set up their argument to be what you want it to be, as opposed to what it actually is. So no straw men in this persuasive research essay. Okay, so after you've done that, you'll create audience-based reasons. This means you need to look at your audience's values, what they care about, and what is essential. Let's think about the things that people most often care about. They care about money, right? They care about the bottom line. They care about their families. They care about safety. They care about education. They care about making sure that they are part of a community. If you think about the things that people care about, they tend to be the same, even if they don't think that they want to work towards them in the same way. They do care about the same things. So you're going to have to find some common ground and research the values of your audience in order to address them. And then come up with those reasons that are going to make sense to that audience, not ones that make sense to you. I mean, you're already convinced. That's why you're writing the paper. But ones that will make sense to that audience. Think of it as a chat around a coffee table where you and a friend are speaking civilly about something with which you disagree. You're not looking for a heated or spirited argument. You're just looking to have a conversation that includes research and facts. Which brings me to my next point, your research. You need to select research sources, and there should be at least one per paragraph. Think about it. How are you supposed to convince a resistant audience if you don't use research? If they're just supposed to take your word for it, that's not going to work. They already are resistant to your claim. So you need research that they will understand and that they will see as credible, which means if you are coming from the position of a gun rights advocate, using the NRA website is not going to convince a gun control advocate. Use a neutral source or one that is likely to appeal to your gun control advocate, but that makes your point, okay? So making sure that you do not use research and news articles that will put your audience off. This can sometimes go in terms of politics. If you have a super conservative audience, you're not going to use MSNBC, you're not going to use the Huffington Post. If you are looking at a super liberal audience, you're probably not going to use Fox News commentary section. And I know this sounds like a really big challenge, but I really think you can do it. And I'm going to put a resource here. You can see it's a news bias, like slant website. And I'm forgetting it now, thinking about that offhand. So I'm going to have to post it for you in a little bit. But anyway, you can use that website for some ideas if you want, or just Google a bit and then see what you think is reasonably credible. It doesn't have to be centrist, it just has to be very credible. So yeah, use resources that you think that audience is going to accept. So that's the Persuasive Research Essay. It is going to be approximately 5 to 6 pages long. It can be slightly shorter, but the idea is this. It is thorough. You are covering everything. You are making your point and you're covering any holes in that point. It should be airtight by the time you finish. So huge topics like euthanasia, the American military, those are much too big. Abortion, much too big. These topics are just huge. So I'm going to talk to you about some narrow focused topics that I think work really well for this paper. The important thing too is that you pick something that you find interesting. It's the end of the year, you're working from home, you need something that you like and you find interesting. Otherwise, this is going to be rough. So let me show you the examples that I have in your book. This is one of my favorites. It's by Alison Steinbach, and I highly suggest reading the whole thing. But it's called A Look at College Marriages, Why Students Should Wait. And in this, the author, who has a long-term boyfriend at college, argues that students should not get married in college, and then articulates the reasons why, using statistics and other thoughts. This one is really, really interesting and excellent, and I highly suggest reading it. She goes over points that would be important to people entering a marriage, which would be finance, living arrangements and expenses, as well as emotional development, and ensuring that they don't get divorced. So this is a really interesting one that I hope you will read and check out. Right. So the second one is called Save the World, Eliminate Fossil Fuels. I think this one's a little bit too big for the scope of it. So you can skip that one unless you just want another one. This last one's interesting. It's talking about why we should reintroduce the wolf into parts of the United States. That's pretty cool. So yeah, those are some topics. Some ones that I've gotten in recent years. I will try to pull up here. This is the example that I have put into your example. Sorry, it's telling me I need to have a new share. We're just going to do that real quick. Hopefully it'll work. All right, okay. So this is one of my favorite papers that I got while I was working at K-State. It is about the annual tradition called Fake Patty's Day. If you don't know about Fake Patties at K-State, don't listen to me on it because I hate it. When I lived in Manhattan, both as a student and as a local, the bars have this fake holiday called Fake Patty's Day. They have it because the real St. Patrick's Day, which would be a huge moneymaker, generally falls on spring break. So instead, they take the weekend before St. Patrick's Day and have a huge bar haven full of green drinks and that kind of thing in Aggieville. There are generally people kind of all over town. It's kind of a drunken event. There are police everywhere, and it's kind of annoying and awful if you live anywhere close to the downtown. You have people stumbling through your yard, taking your parking spaces, throwing up on your back step. That one really did happen. And other such things. So when my student told me she wanted to write a paper about why Fake Patty's Day was a good thing for the city of Manhattan, I said, okay, convince me. I don't have to pretend to be your resistant audience. I am your resistant audience. I hate fake patties. You should know that before you write this paper. And she said, that's okay, I have some ideas. So she started writing. In her thesis, in her claim rather, she says this: while many Manhattanites view Fake Patty's Day in a negative light, this fake holiday provides some positive aspects to the Manhattan community. Fake Patty's Day is good for the Manhattan community. Fake Patty's Day provides an economic boost, creates a strong sense of community between Manhattanites and students of the university, and provides a safe environment for those who choose to participate in the day's festivities. So let's think about that. What might people who are actual residents of Manhattan care about? They care about the economy of their town, right? And that it is supported. They care about the relationship between the community and the university, that it is understanding and that it is strong, because that's how it works when you live in a college town. And they care about a safe environment, mostly because they think Fake Patties doesn't provide that safe environment. So as this writer went on, she talked about the economic boost that Fake Patties provides. She says, the fact that Fake Patty's Day brings bartenders or bars as much as they would make on 4 home football game days is huge. Bartenders make $700 in tips. And home football games are a pretty big deal. So that's really helpful. It also brings a lot of custom to the local hotels, retail stores, and other services. And without Fake Patty's Day, Manhattan would actually lose a really big source of revenue. Even though the locals aren't going out, there are more people in general spending money in Manhattan, which benefits the locals. For second thing is why the Manhattan community should support Fake Patty's Day in order to show that they're supporting the students. She talks about how the Aggieville Business Association partnered with them, how Fort Riley and Riley Rides helped accommodate people, and how they're working together to show that they care, that they can have this event and also keep it clean and keep it safe. So that's really impressive. She goes on to talk about the safety, right? She actually talked to the Manhattan police, and they had 766 calls the year that she talked about it. She says it has a 65% increase from last year. So literally more calls to the police, more reports filed. But instead of going, oh yeah, that makes that event even more unsafe year after year, she says that because the police have stepped up their foot patrol, because they are taking care of problems before they occur, before the officers even need to intervene, they're taking care of things. Therefore, it's actually safer than it has been in the past. And more calls means more things resolve. And even though citations may have doubled, there were no serious injuries because the police, law enforcement have a handle on things. So yeah, increased staffing of law enforcement does make it safer. So she took a reason that may have seemed to be for the opposing side and managed to talk about how it was a reason for her side, which to me was brilliant. It's what makes this paper so good. So highly suggest you read that, check it out. I'll talk about a couple of other topics that my students have used in the past. A topic one of my students used last year was the need to fix the price of diabetic medication in the US so that price gouging wouldn't occur. Another topic was that there should be a minimum weight for models or minimum BMI in order to participate in the modeling industry. I have had a number of people pick topics that are very different, very innovative, and I really suggest that you do the same, that you look for something that is not a typical topic, that you look for something that really has two opposing sides that are interested in the conversation. One of the things I find the most fascinating right now is the conversation between those who wish to open up the economy and those who wish to continue stay-at-home orders. Looking at those arguments, I think there are reasonable debates to be had, and that those are something worth exploring. You should look into what you think your interests are for your paper. That is absolutely essential. And again, remember, this is a coffee table conversation. It is not a debate. It is not a heated fight. It is not something you are trying to win. Rather, you're going to show exactly how persuasive you can be by meeting a resistant audience at their level and speaking to them in ways that they will understand using sources that they will see as credible. So that is your whole goal. I hope that you will follow along carefully with your weekly assignments. I will put in PowerSchool the things that I intend to grade. I am going to keep internal deadlines, and I am going to ask you to post to the discussion board for your very first assignment. So here it is. I want you to choose your topic. I want you to come up with something that you would like to write about, and then I want you to tell me what side you're planning on landing on, right? What do you think you want to write about? So that'll be the first thing. I will look forward to your comments in your small group, and I will see you soon.